Good evening, I'm Paul Offodds, and it's time for your Royals postseason report. Today, the Royals lost to the Phillies. The Guardians won, but the Twins and Red Sox each lost. The Royals remain tied with the Twins for second in the division and in the wildcard race. They are 3 games behind the Guardians for the division crown, and 4 games ahead of the Boston Red Sox for the final wildcard berth. As of this morning, here are your Kansas City Royals playoff odds. Baseball Reference, 86.8%. Baseball Prospectus, 75.7%. And Fangraphs, 81.5%. Their magic number for the final wildcard berth is 29. We now return you to your regularly scheduled Royals Rundown podcast.
Welcome to the Royals Rundown podcast, presented by Royals Review. I'm Jake Milham, and I'm here faking a smile with my good friend Jeremy Greco. Jeremy, how we doing this Sunday evening?
I would be doing better if the Royals had not been blown out for 2 games in a row, which, by the way, is the first time that's happened all year long here at the end of August. But also, listening to Paul tell us about those playoff odds, those are some pretty good playoff odds.
They are.
I gotta say, those are some pretty good playoff odds. You lose a game, it's not fun, but the Royals are right where they want to be.
Exactly. And as a friend of the podcast, David Lesky said on his Twitter account today, we are at the point in the year where the calendar is starting to matter. It is August 25th, and that gap between the Royals and not making the playoffs is just growing bigger and bigger every single day. We'll talk about that later on in the show, I'm sure. But first, we have to thank Royals Review for making this podcast happen. A lot of great news, analysis, and commentary going on over there at the website. You can also follow along with them on social media at Facebook, on Threads, on Twitter, whatever your flavor is. They got a meal for you over at royalsreview.com. All right, Jeremy. So we are literally, you just posted the recap.
Yep.
The Garrett Hampson just struck, or not struck out the side, but he just retired the side against the Phillies. And all in all, what happened? Royals get blown out once again against the visiting Philadelphia Phillies. All weekend long, we were just hearing Phillies chants rain down in Kauffman Stadium. A very, it feels good when your team's doing it in like Fenway or on the road. It really sucks.
Chicago in 2015.
That's true. It really sucks when it's happening in your home stadium.
For sure.
Hey, I think the word for this series is despondent. This was a very disappointing series, but I am feeling that the Royals fan base is a little despondent reacting to today's loss. But Jeremy, I think you are going to be the voice of reason. I want to hear from you on this, though.
The voice of hope.
The voice of hope. Okay.
How about that? And whether it's reasonable to be hopeful, I mean, playoff odds. People are like scoreboard. Right?
Yeah.
Playoff odds, scoreboard, standings. Let me point. Okay? 4 games free of a playoff spot.
Yeah.
4 games free. The Red Sox aren't playing good either, y'all. Somebody posted on Twitter to David Lesky saying, not a hater, but it is foreboding that against playoff caliber teams, we have really struggled, etc. Lesky replied, hey, here's the Royals playoff record against current playoff teams, 19-25. Not great.
Nope.
Cleveland, 20-26.
Ooh.
20-30. He doesn't have Boston's numbers on there, but I remember looking at them recently. They weren't much better.
Yeah.
So the point is, there are no perfect teams in the American League. The Red Sox are the only team in the American League that can challenge the Royals for the final playoff spot. And the Red Sox just got swept by the Diamondbacks.
Yep.
The Royals at least took 1 out of 3 from the Diamondbacks. And one more thing I want to throw out there. I wrote over the weekend about why every series is the most important series, and why that's going to continue to be true for the rest of the season. But following that, I decided to do a little thought experiment. Everybody who's been listening to the podcast knows that one of my favorite things to do this year has been to reference Suff 76's The Narrow Path to 90 wins, and to be like, well, are the Royals on that pace? So I was like, let me do a little twist on that. David Lesky did something very similar for his newsletter last week. I was like, let me do a little twist. What do I think the Royals are going to do for the rest of the year? And I literally sat down. I did not know. I did not plan it out. I said, what are the Royals going to do for the rest of the year? When I look at this series, what do I think the Royals will do in this series?
Mm-hmm.
And what I came up with was 90 wins for the Royals at the end of the year. That's going to be the postseason. Might be second wild card, might be first wild card, might be division lead, depending on how they do against the Guardians and the Twins for the rest of the year. And in that prediction, the first series I predicted was the Philly series, where I predicted the Royals would go 1-2.
Man,
they're on a path to 90 wins, whether it's the narrow path, whether it's the weird path, what path it is, they're on a path to 90 wins, even losing 2 out of 3 to Philadelphia.
So I think I can agree with you 1,000% that in the big picture, today's loss does not hurt the Royals too much. It does hurt the vibes, I will say. The Royals were one of the league's best at home heading into the All-Star break right now.
Yeah.
Now I think they are they're still winning at home, but they are. I just had that number pulled up. They've been struggling at home as of late. They're 5-4-2 on their 11 home stands this year. Okay, Kauffman Stadium is not what's it called? It's not their cathedral.
Does that
it's
mean
not
they
their
stopped
saving
cheating
grace.
At home? Is that?
I guess so. It was. I'm sure they got caught. Maybe a little slap on the wrist from old Rob saying, "Oh, cut that out, you silly Royals." Yeah, I'm sure they stopped cheating.
Here's why I am not upset about losing 2 out of 3 to the Phillies, other than the fact that I predicted it and they can still win 90 games by just playing reasonably as I expect against the teams the rest of the way. The Royals were within 1 run yesterday. Brady Singer comes back out for the 6th. You can quibble with that decision. He was not pitching great. He was close to 90 pitches he was around 90 pitches. Comes back out to pitch the 6th inning, and he gives up 2 infield singles and then a home run. Suddenly the Royals are down big. But 2 infield singles, 9 times out of 10, you run that inning again, no hits or a double play.
Yeah.
And then it's a solo home run, or he doesn't even, he pitches completely differently to JT Realmuto today. Seth Lugo gave up 11 hits in his 5+ innings, 5 2/3 or whatever it was.
Yeah.
Career high.
Yeah.
5 of those were infield hits. What are you supposed to do against infield hits? Purely luck based.
They are.
Every time. What it means is that your pitcher got weak contact, sometimes too weak, and the infield couldn't do anything about it. It happens. Bad luck happens. The other thing is that the Royals only had 2 1-2-3 innings all day long. They only got the 3 runs. They went over with runners in scoring position today.
Yes.
I haven't run the numbers, but I would bet money the Royals haven't gone over with runners in scoring position all year long. Maybe once or twice.
Yeah.
In games where they didn't get hits. They were hitting the ball. They just couldn't get anybody home. So it's not like the offense disappeared. It just had a really fluky game where they didn't get those runners home. They go to Cleveland tomorrow for 2 games, start the 4-game series, 2 games tomorrow in the doubleheader. If their offense gets on base tomorrow like they were today, expect them to score tons of runs and sweep the doubleheader.
Wow. Damn. Okay. So there's a number I want to throw out to the listeners, Jeremy. It is 13. Okay, and that's, maybe that's Salvador Perez's number. Maybe that's probably the unluckiest number in the universe. But 13 is the number of losses that the Royals have since the All-Star break. And if my math is serving me correctly, I believe that is their 20-13 record is the best in the American League since the All-Star break, as of this recording.
Yeah, I know they were the best in the American League entering this series, so...
But they're also 0-13 when the pitching staff, since the All-Star break, allows when they allow 6 or more runs.
I mean, when the pitching staff allows 6 runs, that's not a good day.
But it's the fact that in all 13 of those losses that they've had since early July, the pitching staff has melted down. That's, I think, the consistency of that trait, of that trend, is something that we need to keep an eye on.
Well, I guess my response to that would be Will Smith, Chris Stratton, Angel Zerpa. And I thought of something today.
Okay.
Some good news for Royals fans.
All right.
Maybe those guys are gone tomorrow. Maybe the Royals are ready to overhaul the bullpen tomorrow. It could happen. Not holding my breath, but boy, it would make a lot of sense going into a doubleheader to call up some fresh arms and to get rid of some chaff.
Yeah.
But here's the good news. Whether or not that happens, whether or not Will Smith and Chris Stratton and Angel Zerpa finish the year on the roster, those 3 guys not going to pitch in the postseason. Not going to happen.
Yeah.
They will not be pitching in the postseason because they probably won't even be on the 26-man roster.
I hope not.
Because there's no reason for them to pitch in short series.
No, not at all.
And I guess we're getting to the point now, we're entering the final month of play. We're entering what some people would call the sprint to the end.
Mm-hmm.
And this is traditionally when you would see Ned Yost adjust his bullpen usage, when you see teams adjust their pitching usage and say, we can't play for tomorrow or for next week. We have to play for today.
Right.
And I expect Quintero to start managing that way too. No more Seth Lugo and Brady Singer coming out for the 6th inning in these situations. It's all right, Chris Bubich, you're going too, buddy.
Yeah.
It's Lucas Erceg, you're going too, buddy. Maybe you can't pitch tomorrow, but I can't worry about tomorrow. I've got to win today's game.
It is going to be interesting to see how they handle stuff in Cleveland, because that's a 4-game stretch.
Yep.
With the doubleheader right there.
I mean, this is a stretch of 14 games in 13 days. This is brutal regardless of your competition. The fact that all of these teams are in playoff position, if not first place. I can't remember. I don't think the Twins are part of this stretch. So all first place teams that's brutal. Yeah. But you got to survive it.
Yeah,
and
you do.
What I predicted is that, the Royals aren't going to win many of these games. I said they'd go 2-2 against the Guardians, 1-3 against the Astros, and then they'd come home and take 2-1 from the Guardians, probably go 1-2 against the Twins, 1-2 against the Yankees. That's what I expect them to do in this stretch.
Okay.
And then they do get a little bit of a break to end the year. They get the Pirates, and this is what's kind of nice, is a little bit of a break, a little bit of a chance to build some momentum, to build some confidence heading into the postseason, as they're going to be facing off against the Pirates, the Tigers, the Giants, the Nationals, and Atlanta. With Atlanta, traditionally a good team, has not been playing well this year, really has had a lot of problems with injury, especially in the rotation, and with losing Ronald Acuna Jr.
Yes. Yeah. That's really hampered their overall season outlook. It is. I tweeted this out, so I'm sorry if you already saw it or read it, but I'm going to say it again. You cannot convince me that this current 26-man roster should be boarding the plane to Cleveland. I get it. They're going to call up Alec Marsh reportedly to be the 27th man, presumably, I will say. Yeah. But you listed off the easy guys for them to move on from. Like, I'm sorry. It is. I looked up Garrett Hampson numbers heading into today. 15 WRC plus since the All-Star break. 15. And he's appeared in 23 of the Royals' 33 games since then. That's a major role player, I would say. And you're telling me he's 85% worse than an average batter? That's unacceptable.
Yeah.
And we're all saying this with should. Like, it shouldn't be like this. They should make these moves, because we're at the point right now where, like, frankly, I don't believe they will. I don't believe that they will make these choices. So I thoroughly invite, JJ Piccolo, guys, front office, prove us wrong. Hold these players accountable for their performance and say, you know what? You got here to the top 0.1% of all baseball players. Well, now you're performing like the top 0.2%, and we can't be having that on our 26-man roster.
Yeah.
That's how I'm sitting right now.
Yeah, I think there's been, first of all, I don't blame manager Matt Quatraro for any of this. These are the guys he's got on his roster. He's got to figure out, he can't just not play Garrett Hampson.
Yeah.
He can't. Guys need days off. We saw Kyle Isbell batting against a left-hander Saturday night. It was ugly.
Yes.
I understand why he wants Garrett Hampson in center field against a lefty. Garrett Hampson may not be good, but it was bad when Kyle Isbell was out there. And I don't want Kyle Isbell to have his confidence shattered because he has to face lefties. That doesn't seem like a good idea to me.
No, it does not.
So this is a problem that J.J. Picollo is causing. Now, J.J. Picollo has done a great job. The free agent signings of Michael Wacha, Seth Lugo, Hunter Renfroe worked out very well. The trade for Lucas Erceg, the trade for DeYoung, terrific.
Yes, it worked out great.
But this is the thing where people are saying, "Oh, Quatraro's just like Matheny, he's just like Yost, and they have their guys that they gotta play no matter what." That's the guy in the roster. That's who he's got to play.
Yeah.
This isn't on Quatraro. This is on Picollo. This is something Picollo needs to fix. This might be like the last kind of thing that I blame Dayton Moore for when Matheny and Yost were doing it.
Yeah.
It's the same thing. And I think this might be the one thing that Picollo still keeps from when he was working with Dayton Moore and loyalty to players isn't a bad thing. It worked out well in the case of Hunter Renfroe, where they didn't cut him a month into the season, and he's played very well since then.
Right.
MJ Melendez has been hitting very well for a couple of months now. But, man, it's been the whole season with Chris Stratton and Will Smith and Adam Frazier and Garrett Hampson. There is no more. Maybe they'll figure it out. It's time. It's got to be time to move on from them. And you can say, is Anthony Veneziano, is Jonathan Bolin, is Carlos Hernandez, is whoever the answer? I don't know. But I do know that Will Smith and Chris Stratton are not.
Exactly. This is, in many facets of life, the saying, the devil you know is better than the devil you don't know. That will apply in several facets of life. That does not apply in baseball roster management. Yeah. Okay, we know that Will Smith is going to be the guy who gives up hard contact and can't get outs when it comes against quality competition in medium or high leverage. I'm not going to say just in high leverage. He can only perform in low leverage. That's what it's looking like.
And he can't pitch multiple innings either. We talked about that last time.
Yep.
If you're going to only pitch in low leverage, you've got to be able to eat innings for the team so that they can progress from there.
Exactly. And I will say, this is something that we haven't touched on yet. Let's zoom back out a little bit. The Royals, since the All-Star break, still solidly above 500 in that span. And that's only expanded their overall season record, looking much, much better. So no qualms there. But how they got to this double digits above 500, how they got to this point in the season has been their starting pitching. And we're coming off the heels of two very poor pitching performances. One from Seth Lugo today and another from Brady Singer on Saturday. I will say that I know Luck said it. I'm sure that there were other Royals creators out there talking about this. Unfortunately, we kind of saw the Singer performance coming, unfortunately. The Phillies just had the right concoction of batters to make things hard for Singer, and they absolutely they punished him. They really did. Seth Lugo, though, this is just another bad stretch. I don't know how else to say it.
Honestly, Seth Lugo has struggled against the same teams that Brady Singer struggled against this year. The weird thing is that Lugo doesn't have the splits that Singer does.
Yeah.
But he struggled against the Red Sox, the Twins, and the Phillies. Those are the teams that Singer struggled against.
That's
the
true.
Teams with the lefties. So I don't know why Lugo is struggling with them, but it does seem clear that he struggles against the same teams that Singer struggled against. Mm-hmm. And so to that end,
what you got?
You might want to rearrange the rotation next off day, which isn't till next week, next Thursday.
This is a long ways away.
Be a minute, but I would prefer that Lugo and Singer were not pitching next to each other anymore.
Yes, I agree with that. Looking at the probable pitchers for the Cleveland series, Cole Reagans on Monday in Game 1, Alec Marsh in Game 2 on Monday, and then Lorenzen on Tuesday and Michael Wacha on Wednesday. So I would say, thankfully, we're not going to see Seth Lugo or Brady Singer against the Guardians.
That's probably right this second. That's probably the best four the Royals could throw at the Guardians.
Yeah, probably so. Going with the hot arms, at least.
No, Lugo and Reagans haven't struggled Lugo and Singer haven't struggled against the Guardians this year.
True.
So I wouldn't mind if they were pitching against them, but it is what it is.
Okay.
That's the thing, is that the Royals have 6 starters that could go out there, and I'm like, I'm not too immediately concerned unless it's against a lefty heavy lineup. And then Singer and Lugo, I am a little concerned. We had mentioned, I'm just going to do this. I'm going to just grab the steering wheel, and we're taking a hard ride.
Man. Here goes the bus.
One of the things we mentioned we wanted to talk about coming into today was the playoff rotation.
Yeah.
What did that look like? And I think I have an easy answer for you.
All right, what you got?
So it's going to have Lugo, Reagans, Wacha.
Okay.
No matter what. Those 3.
No matter what.
And then Singer, Lorenzen, depending on matchups. Singer's much better against righties with his slider, and Lorenzen is much better against lefties this year with his changeup.
That's fair.
So I think that's what makes the most sense. And if you're playing a wild card series with only 3 games, 3-man rotation, then Singer and Lorenzen are probably both in the bullpen.
Agreed. They absolutely should be. And we talked about it before the podcast. Imagine Singer's stuff in a matchup based, spot coming out of the bullpen. He would perform great, I think. And we talked about it earlier on this season that a move to the bullpen wouldn't be terrible for Singer. Now, he proved us wrong a little bit with a good stretch, but when you come down to the postseason, if he thrives in that role, then he thrives in that role, and that's the thing that helps the team, and that's all that matters.
I think Singer has proved this year that he is a starter long-term, because even against the Phillies, like I said, he was not pitching well, but he was holding his own.
Yeah.
He was doing enough to keep the team in the game. It was only because he had to come back out for the 6th inning because the bullpen is untrustworthy, and only because they got 2 ridiculous infield hits, including one that bounced off the lip of the infield dirt, which I've never seen before in my 20 plus years of watching baseball. And so I think Singer belongs in your rotation, but given his struggles this year against lefties, and that may not be a long-term thing for him as he continues to work with these pitching coaches, given his struggles against lefties, and given the fact that you do have Lorenzen, who is much better against lefties than he is righties, I think that's your matchup that you've got to be as smart and as tight and not miss a single detail when you're in the postseason. Yeah. And so that's an easy call to make, to say, right-handed lineup, their best hitters are righties, we're going to use Singer. Their best hitters are lefties, we're going to use Lorenzen. And then we're going to be ready to pull either of them very quickly and have the other one, they pinch hit or something early in the game.
Yank them.
You pinch hit all your lefties to take on Singer? All right, well, Lorenzen's in now. Good luck.
Yeah.
And you're ready to go that way.
Exactly. I'm gonna yank the bus wheel back real quick.
All right.
Because I found the numbers for the runners in scoring position thing,
sure.
the over. As far as I can tell, they have not gone over with double digits runners in scoring position opportunities.
What happened today.
Correct. It is also the most hitless ABs that they've had in that situation since May 2022. Okay, that's it. It's been a while. This was an outlier. Plain and simple.
And that's what I'm saying. When I'm saying, I'm not bummed by these 2 losses. These are outlier games. These are games against a really good team that had luck go its way. It happens. You can't win them all.
Right. Exactly. And I do. Let's talk about some good stuff from this game, because all three of the Royals' runs came off of solo home runs, which I get it. They're exciting. You wish that they had runners on for those home runs, but beggars can't be choosers. Bobby Witt Jr.'s homer was just absolutely disgusting.
All of his home runs anymore, like, he doesn't just hit home runs, he hits ridiculous home runs.
Absolute nukes. And what his home run today went 441 feet to like dead center. Yeah. Woo, it was a rocket. Now he's in sole place for the team lead with 26 home runs on the year. He also has 10 in 33 games since the All-Star break, which is an absurd pace right there.
Yeah, that home run derby sure messed up his swing, huh?
Yeah, really threw off his swing mechanics, since he's batting .417 since the All-Star break.
Hilarious thing to me is that there was a lot of talk among Royals analysts on the internet about how Bobby Witt Jr., he was playing at an amazing superstar level, but the one thing he wasn't really doing was pulling balls for power.
Yeah.
It was like the one thing he wasn't doing. And then he went to the home run derby and he pulled a bunch of balls for power and he came back and he just kept doing it.
Yep.
He's pulling doubles, pulling triples, pulling homers. It's been absolutely fantastic.
That it has. But the number I want to focus on is that batting average, though. So he's had 132 what ABs are. Yeah, it's ABs, not plate appearances. Wanted to make sure. So he does have a chance to join a very exclusive club, and I thank Royals PR for putting this out there because I wouldn't have even thought to go back to World War II for a stat split. Yeah, so since World War II, only 3 players with a minimum of 150 ABs have hit for a better average after the All-Star break. Ted Williams in 1957, George Brett in 1980,
right,
and then Ichiro Suzuki in 2004.
Ooh, Ichiro.
So if Bobby Witt continues his
3 lefties.
What'd you say?
3 lefties.
Yeah, I know, right? And so Bobby would be the only righty in that group, which is a pretty damn good group to be a part of, no matter how you get there.
Yeah.
Let's see, Michael Garcia. He also homered his first since July 7th. It's been a while.
Good things happen when Michael Garcia pulls the ball in the air.
Yep.
He doesn't do it enough. Everyone's like, oh, he pulls the ball too much. I keep seeing this all over the internet. Michael Garcia's trying to pull the ball too much. No, he needs to pull it more. Mm-hmm. He's not pulling it enough.
Well, and
he keeps slapping it to right field and he gets line drive outs right to the right fielder, and not like super hard hit line drives, like reasonably hard hit, but right to the right fielder who's like, if you hit it to the right field, you're going to hit it here. I'm ready for it.
So that was his first home run since July 7th. On the flip side, MJ Melendez also a home run today for his 8th home run since July 27th, his 50th home run of his career. So congratulations to MJ there. That's a pretty big milestone. Also another major milestone that we should be talking about, Tyler Gentry officially making his MLB debut today. Yes, finally.
That's because Adam Frazier got cut, right? Oh, it's because Garrett Hampson got cut, right?
No one got cut. No one got cut, Jeremy.
Oh.
Hunter Renfroe unfortunately hit the IL with a hamstring strain.
Not that. That's not what we wanted.
No. Yes.
Speaking of hamstring injuries, were you watching the game? Salvi reached back and grabbed his left hammy.
Mm-hmm.
He was hitting that double in the 8th inning. That is terrifying.
It is. Hopefully, just a few days DHing will solve that. Will help that, because if you think the Royals have some shallow help in the minors, go look at who the next man up is for being a catcher.
Austin Nola. No, Blake Mitchell is not ready.
No,
Hung Cham whatever I can't remember his first name. Is not ready.
No,
Ramirez is not ready.
I mean, listen, I wouldn't complain about
is not here.
No, I wouldn't complain about like Carter Jensen. Just call him up from AA. Screw it. But that would absolutely
not ready though.
No, probably not ready. And let's focus on the process and developing him as a player. But yeah, it is. So hopefully that's nothing serious with Salvi. We'll have to keep an eye on that, though. If you want any updates, you can go follow Royals Review on social media. You can follow the Royals Rundown podcast on Twitter or on TikTok at Royal Rundown Pod. Or I'm sure if there's any news, we'll be talking about it too, right, Jeremy?
Yeah, probably. Hanson is apparently the third catcher for the Royals.
He's the emergency catcher?
He's the emergency catcher, according to the broadcast. So we can just let him start, right? No?
Oh my gosh, no.
You don't think that's a good idea? We got to get his bat in the lineup.
Ice cold.
The good news, I guess, is that if Salvi has to go down for a few days, Freddie Fermin still very good.
Yes, he is.
What you do is Freddie Fermin starts at catcher every day, and you've got Michael Massey DHing. You've got the Young DHing.
Yeah,
you don't have to play Austin Nola all the time suddenly.
Salvi's batting fourth right now in the lineup.
Yeah.
Been there all year. If you had to replace him in that number 4 hole, who would it be and why though? Because
Hunter Renfroe.
Yeah. I think that's the sensible.
Or Freddie Fermin.
I don't know if I like Freddie Fermin in the 4 hole.
Before today, he was like a super reliable guy. He didn't have the ABs that Witt, Pasquantino, and Salvi had with runners in scoring position, but he'd been very reliable with runners in scoring position.
Mm-hmm.
I was amazed and astonished and terrified that he came up with runners in scoring position 2 or 3 times and didn't get a hit.
Yeah. He looked very frustrated by the end of today's game. I chalked up Sam Long's terrible performance in the rain as like a one-off. Well, that didn't look so good. I chalked this up Freddie Fermin as like a one-off. This was just an off day for him. And ready to get to the plane and move it along. Let's talk about the guy who's batting ahead of Salvi in the lineup right now, Vinny Pasquantino. I don't want to spend too much time on him because this is more off-season talk.
Absolutely.
But I think that if we had to pick a guy to get an extension, it would be Vinny Pasquantino right now. You could make a case for Cole Reagans. You could possibly make a case for Brady Singer. I wouldn't be offering Brady Singer an extension right now. Cole Reagans, I'm still a little, I don't know. It's like we're at the calendar year mark of his uber productive stretch. It's like, is he in line for a extension right now? No, I don't think so. I think Vinny is in line for one. I think we can talk about that with a little bit more gusto, a little bit more confidence. I'm not saying it's going to be market setting, but the Royals, optics do matter. The Royals have invested a lot of optics into Vinny Pasquantino, right? Whether it be Pasquatch walking in Kauffman Stadium, it sounds silly, but whether it be the sandwich, all right, whether it be all the broadcast opportunities that he gets, Vinny Pasquantino is kind of like the third face of the Royals right now. He's a very vocal guy as well. And his performance is backing it up. Now, has he been perfect? No, not at all. But since June 1st, he is still recording a cool 119 weighted runs created plus. He's not striking out a lot. He's still drawing a good amount of walks. When he puts the ball in play for the most part, it's a rocket. All right. And don't forget, he is also 1 for 1 on stolen base attempts. Okay. He is a base running threat, very productive on the base paths. Jeremy, I don't want to get into numbers right now because I think Pete Alonso's contract is going to throw some stuff off. There are a few other dominoes to fall before Vinny, I think, entertains a deal long term. But like, would you be opposed to an extension for him?
I'm not opposed to it, but I also don't think it's remotely necessary right now. Vinny is not even arbitration eligible until 2026.
Correct.
So you've got this year and next year. I love Vinny. He's got a 1.4 WAR FWAR this year, a 109 WRC plus. He's been very good. 96 RBIs. I've got like an idea for an article I want to write about Vinny Pasquantino and his RBIs, because I think that he is better at driving in runs than most people, and I think I can prove it. But I haven't gotten there yet, so I don't know for sure. But the fact that he's not arbitration eligible for another year and a half, he's not free agent eligible until 2029, and the fact that he is already 26 years old, this is already his prime.
Fair.
If he was 23, 24, all right, let's do it. Let's get this guy locked up. He's only going to get better from here. He may not ever get better than this. We may not want him. As much as I love him, as much as I hope that he's a career Royal and that he has a Hall of Fame career, we may not want him on this team at the end of his current contract. So I don't really think that is a priority. On the other hand, you say Cole Reagans, you're not super concerned about extending him. Yeah. Cole Reagans has been elite for a full year now. And Cole Reagans is, I'm pulling up his note. He's also 26, but pitchers usually go a little bit longer than hitters. Yeah. And he has been better than Vinny. He's got 4.1 FWAR this year.
Good Lord.
And he is, Fangraphs has screwed up all their stuff on me here.
Yeah, no, they put out some update that's just kind of throwing off the.
Yeah, I'm like, this is cool and all, but I need the stuff you had before too. So he's arbitration. He is also ARB eligible in 2026, free agent in 2029. I would be like, hey, let's get this kid locked up for, let's get some club options in here for after he would be a free agent by guaranteeing him some money now. And I think we're going to feel really good about that. Okay. So he would be my choice for who I would try to extend right this second.
Okay.
Before he gets prohibitively expensive, as elite starting pitchers tend to do. And whereas Vinny is an above average starter at first base.
Yes.
That's not elite money territory.
That's fair. And I think either extension is going to at least, cover their ARB years, of course. I think Cole's would go well beyond 2028, his last arbitration year. I think, you'd be pushing 2031. You want him being your opening day starter in the brand new stadium downtown. I could see, hey, we just want to buy out his arbitration years. And we want to have like a set price there. And it's going to be, maybe it's only like, I don't know, 12 million.
I mean, if you're going to get a really good deal by guaranteeing him money up front, because I do think he should be a consistent producer for that period of time.
Yeah.
So if you're like, we're not going to pay you fair market value for those years that you would get in ARB, but we'll give you money for sure, that would be okay. That would make some sense.
I know one guy they will not be extending is Freddie Fermin, who is not eligible for arbitration until 2026, and he's already 29 years old now.
Yeah, he's not going to make it that far.
He's what we call a late bloomer, folks. That is all that
Freddie,
is.
And I look forward to many years of Freddie in Kauffman. He might even be the starter when Salvi's contract expires. I think it expires next year, or is it the year after that?
Let me double check. So there's a club option for 2026. 2025 so 2 years. This is last,
So Freddie might be the starter in a couple of years when Salvi might be ready to be done by then. He'll be in his mid to late 30s by then.
Yeah.
Of course, Freddie at that point will be in his early to mid 30s.
Correct.
So
neither spring chickens.
He might be ready to be the starter, but you're not going to want him after his contract expires either.
No, exactly. All right. So wanted to at least delve into that a little bit. And now, Jeremy, you know how you had the bus wheel earlier on? Yeah. I am going to throw you under it real quick.
Oh, no.
Because you have an absolutely atrocious take.
I do.
Right now. You do. You really do. One of the most beloved parts of any Royals win is the Salvi splash.
Yeah.
It really is. There's
absolutely
there's kids out there that have I saw one that had like the cutout where the kid could put his head through, and it had a picture of Salvi dumping a water cooler on from behind him. Yeah, I thought that was pretty damn creative. It popped up on the bill. But now, we are in 2024. Teams are trying to leverage their marketing opportunities even more. We have seen that with the Chick-fil-A on the foul poles. And I'm gonna take a quick.
We got to put a trigger warning for retching sounds on this podcast now.
Apparently so. But the Royals have updated this, and now they have the massive
choice. What a choice of.
Well, as you know, John Sherman pays me daily 1 penny to make sure I don't say anything bad about the team. At least that's what folks out there would like to think. They've updated it, Jeremy.
You're selling yourself cheap, Jacob.
You know what? I ain't worth a whole lot, Jeremy. I don't know about you. I'm still going to therapy for self-worth. All right, we're still getting there. Maybe in a couple of years. Maybe when I'm up for arbitration, maybe I'll know my self-worth a little bit more. But now they are all in all the players are now using a massive QT cup. I haven't heard like a title for this. Like, what is it dubbed? I don't think it's like the QT splash. It doesn't really have a ring to it.
That's what I call it.
I think that's what it should be called. But you think that this is terrible.
Yeah,
this is atrocious.
I hate it.
Why?
And listen, I'm the guy who, before the season started, they announced they were going to put the QT patches on the sleeves. Mm-hmm. And I'm the guy who was like, listen, y'all, this ain't a big deal. It's just a patch on a sleeve. No. So here's the thing. The uniforms are already a corporate thing that says you belong to the Kansas City Royals. You Salvador Perez, you Vinny Pasquantino, you Bobby Witt Jr., you belong to the Kansas City Royals. You represent us. This is our corporate brand, and we want everyone to know that you are us. And the Salvi Splash was Salvi's thing.
Yes,
that wasn't a Royals thing. It was Salvi's thing that he was letting Bobby and MJ do for him as he's getting up there in years. And we're like, please, Salvi, do not throw out your back dumping Gatorade on people. Just that it was a player-driven thing. So when you add corporateness to something that's already corporate, that doesn't bother me. When you add it to something that was player-centric, that bothers me. To me, that's gross. To me, you're saying, listen, you can't have nice things, players. It's our thing now. And you must abide. And no longer is the Salvi Splash done because the players are having fun. Now the QT Splash is done because Quick Trip paid for it. And by golly, you gotta do it. And so I hate it. I hate the QT Splash. I love the Salvi Splash. I hate the QT Splash.
Oh, that's fair. Damn it. I didn't think about that, Jeremy.
Yeah. You're over here like, you got a bad take, Jeremy.
Damn it. Prove me wrong again. I need to get a new co-host. He's not smarter than me so many times.
I've just spent, this is not me being smarter than you. This is me spending way too much time thinking about this. This topic does not deserve this amount of thinking. I was actually the other day, I was thinking about how I spend way too much time defending so much way too much time defending players and actors, athletes and players, professional athletes and actors for how much money they make. Because at least they're working for their money. And I hate when people are like, oh, they should get paid less. And I'm like, listen, if they get paid less, then the billionaires just keep more money. Right. And that sucks. And that's all true. But then Travis Kelce bought like 500 truckloads of roses for Taylor Swift when she came back from her tour. And I'm like, man, I can't defend you when you spend your money like that. What are we doing?
He got the bag this offseason. He did.
I just, come on. Like, I still think billionaires are the people that we need to focus on because they're 1,000 times worse than millionaires. Yeah, that's just math. But, if you want to take out the billionaires while taking out the billionaires, this is where I still have a problem, is if you focus on the millionaires and forget about the billionaires, I don't want to talk to you. But if you want to take the money from both of them, all right, that's fine.
Hey, speaking of money real quick, Jeremy is about to come into some very sizable amounts of money.
That's what you think.
Hey, that's what I think. You're the one who bet that the Royals would win the AL Central before the season started.
They're 3 games back of the division. That has not happened yet. And even if I'm right, I end up with like $800. And I don't know if I am allowed, because it was all bonus bets. Like, it was the sign up bonus bets. I don't know if I get to keep that money or if I have to rebet it. I don't know how that works.
No, you should be able to keep it.
I don't know if I get to be like, I've put no money into your program. I'm now going to withdraw 1,000 because I also bet on Cole Reagans to win 11 games or more. That's going to happen. And I bet on Bobby to hit 28 or 29 home runs or more. That's going to happen. Right. So I'm going to probably pull out a cool $1,000 after spending $0 of my own money. And I'm like, are they really going to let me just have $1,000 for free?
For free? Well, because it doesn't happen very often. Okay. That's why they give out the free bets, because you don't know what the hell you're doing.
Sports gambling than anybody.
Apparently so.
Are you all ready for my sports gambling advice? I got it right here for you. You ready? You ready, Jacob?
Yeah, I'm ready.
Don't do it.
Yeah, that's fair.
I only did it because I had free money, and I'm like, a lot of people are doing the sports betting. Let me check this out. It's free money, so I did it. But do not bet your real money on sports. It's a bad game. Somebody did a study, and I don't have the exact numbers in front of me right now, but the vast majority of people who are betting on sports are the people who cannot afford to lose.
Yeah. It's sad.
And sports gambling wouldn't be a thing if the house didn't consistently win.
Right. It's
because they exist to make money. So don't give them money for nothing.
Yes. And if you want proof of that, you don't have to look any further than like the implied odds for any game. Like, it doesn't add up to 100%. It's not, the implied odds don't say, oh, the Yankees have a 60% chance of winning and the Royals have a 40%. No, the odds are going to say, oh, the Yankees have a 61% chance of winning, but the Royals have a 52% chance of winning. And that's because, all in all, the house will win, no matter what.
Yep.
Well, now that we've done an impromptu Royals review, Jeremy, is there anything else that you want to talk about the Royals?
I did want to mention real quick that a legend has retired. Joey Votto retired. Very sad to see him go, but like it was time.
Yeah.
Wasn't good anymore, as he said himself. He wasn't good anymore, so it was time to go. And so he quit. And that's that. I respect that. Quitting kind of on his own terms still a little bit. Obviously not entirely, because if he had it his way, he would have been in the big leagues this year.
Yeah.
But it's still saying, oh no, I realized that I didn't want to pinch hit in this game. And if I'm not going to take every at bat I can get, then what am I doing here? And so, we will miss Joey Votto. We will pray that Joey Votto will end up in a sportscasting booth near you, because dude is real smart, real funny, and that would be a great time.
It would. It would be an amazing time. And if you want to feel good, if you want to smile, go back and watch some of like the Joey Votto moments compilations on YouTube. I mean, the man had he had a villain arc in MLB. He had a hero arc in MLB. Like this man was a real life shonen.
He's got oral histories up on The Athletic somewhere, the same way that Zach Greinke does.
Yes.
If you want to kind of understand what's the deal with Joey Votto? Well, he's like the hitter's version of Zach Greinke. He's a good time.
Yep, exactly. Now, apparently, Jeremy, I talked about the tweet that I sent out earlier, and I just pulled up my Twitter, and I have 20. It gave me the 20 plus notifications. So
you're big news today.
I hope not. I hope not, because I had to spend.
Are you today's villain?
Listen, when you know me for a while, Jeremy, when I become the villain, that's a bad time. Okay, like when my take is the villainous one, things have gone south. All right, this bus has been driven south.
You did just try to say that my QT Splash take was a bad one.
My response to that: baseball is a business, right? Baseball players are employees. I don't like it
rubbed in my face.
Baseball players are employees. Managers are employees. The game is not a game anymore, Jeremy. It's not a game unless you're playing wiffle ball in the backyard. And then even then,
Even then, it gets filmed and uploaded to social media to broadcast what kind of person you are and what kind of people you were playing with, and et cetera, and et cetera, and et cetera. Yes. Not allowed to just be a thing. Absolutely.
Exactly. All right, Jeremy, let's go ahead and get on to our Royals reviews. I am, number one, I got berated by my in-laws this weekend because they're all Phillies fans and this sucked. So Royals, let's not do this again against the Philadelphia Phillies, please. Thank you. My review today is over a canceled CW show that Honey is starting to watch. Walker, the redo or reimagining of Walker, Texas Ranger.
Did you watch the original?
Did. And like the original was cheesy, but it was in that period.
Did you see the clip of the original Walker with Haley Joel Osment?
No, I don't think so.
I keep going. I'll find that for you.
All right.
And you can play it for everyone.
Sounds good. So this one, CW did it. I think they started right after the pandemic is when this one came out. Jared Padalecki, if you don't recognize the name, he's kind of been a career. Say it again.
Padalecki.
Is that what I said? Padalecki? I said Padalecki, didn't I?
Yeah, you did.
Okay. Yeah, that guy. He's been a career CW guy. He was on some of the trashy romantic shows.
Everyone knows him from Supernatural.
I was about to say I only know him from Supernatural.
I know him from Gilmore Girls.
That's what it was. That's what it was. Yeah, I don't remember. I haven't seen Gilmore Girls. But this bit of Walker, Texas Ranger, it is so cheesy. It is. I'm not going to say it's bad because we're only 7 episodes in, but there's 4 seasons of this, and it's just not anything like the original other than he is a Texas Ranger. Like
that checks out.
That's about it. There are... And Jeremy, we've both been vocal over, hey, we do like representation in media. It is important. It is valuable. And very rarely do I feel turned off by it being shoehorned into stuff because I'm not going to be the one to say, okay, it's just there. Well, it's been shoehorned. There hasn't been a whole lot of development in it yet, but I'm starting to get the feeling like some of the traumatic stuff is getting shoehorned in. That's going to lead to representation. It's giving me a weird vibe. Yeah. So I'm not enjoying that aspect. I know that probably doesn't make a whole lot of sense to folks, but Jeremy, I think it makes sense to you because you understand my brain a little bit.
There's certainly a difference between representation and pandering.
Yeah.
That sounds like it might be leaning towards the pandering side of things.
Yes, that's exactly the way to put it. I'm getting more of a pandering vibe from Walker so far. But like I said, we're not even 1 season in. They gotta change some stuff, get a little bit better before I get on the Walker Texas Ranger train.
Before you play this clip, can I just can I tell you my personal connection to Walker Texas Ranger?
Yeah, what's up?
So I don't know if you remember this, but back when I was in college, Chuck Norris jokes were all the rage, right? Mm-hmm. So when I was in college, inexplicably, I was a theater major, and that part's not inexplicable. That part makes perfect sense.
It does.
But I was a theater major, and inexplicably, one of the other theater majors decided that everything would be better if the Chuck Norris jokes were the Jeremy Greco jokes.
Oh my gosh.
And so
no way.
Constantly it was like Jeremy Greco, blah, 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 Chuck Norris joke. And everyone else did it too. So that was me all through college.
I love it. All right. So I'm going to play this clip. I haven't listened to it before, Jeremy. I have no clue what you're talking about here. So let's go and play this.
It seems so much shorter than a week, but in some ways, a lot longer.
I know what you mean.
He's so young.
Hey there! Welcome home!
It's okay, Aunt Alex. I'm a man now.
Oh.
What?
Thank you.
That reservation still standing? Barely.
And how you doing, little partner?
Fine. And it's a little visitor now. Attaboyoli is how you say it in Cherokee.
Oh, well, pardon my French, but I'll be damned.
Walker told me I have AIDS.
What? No.
Yep. So Conan O'Brien, when his show was on, it was temporarily, his show was on the network that had Walker, Texas Ranger, and he had installed for a while this lever that he could pull to show a random Walker, Texas Ranger clip, and that was one of the clips that showed up there one time. And I actually never watched the Conan show, but I somehow got on a YouTube spree where I was watching like clips of the Conan show where he showed Walker clips.
Oh my.
And I saw that clip, and I've never been able to stop thinking about it ever.
That was absurd. I'm sorry. All right, Jeremy, on to your review. I think we've talked more about Walker, Texas Ranger than we have Vinny Pasquantino or Bobby Wood Jr.
All right, so get ready. This is a long one. Get ready for it.
You got a long one too?
I might have mentioned in the past that there's the streaming service that I really like called Dropout.
Oh, yeah, never heard of them.
Yeah, I think I've mentioned it once or twice, in passing, so it's fine if you didn't remember. But I watched basically everything they do now, and they've started this new series within the past couple of months called Dropout Presents, where they do little quasi stand-up comedy, quasi weird stage show kinds of things. And just give them kind of an opportunity to flourish outside of the small arenas that they might. It's basically the CEO, Sam Reich, saying, I saw this really cool thing that somebody who works at Dropout, and sometimes people who just are mildly associated with Dropout or not even part of Dropout maybe, was doing, and I want to make sure it gets to a larger audience, and Dropout's audience is always growing, so I'm going to put these things on here, and hopefully it's going to draw people to the service because it's really good, but also it's going to draw eyes to their things. So the first one they did was Hank Green, who's kind of famous on TikTok for doing the science little bits, and his brother John Green wrote all those books. And so he did Pissing Out Cancer, where he did kind of a stand-up show talking about his experience having cancer, which was really cool and very funny. And then they did a second show, which was called Bigger, and it starred the Dropout alums, Brennan Lee Mulligan and Izzy Rowland, who are married to each other, and they did like an improv thing. And I really didn't care for the first thing, because I didn't care for it. But the rest of the show was also very funny. And I'm like, this is good. I like Dropout Presents. You guys are doing good things. Well, they just dropped the third show in Dropout Presents earlier this week. I think it was Thursday. Might have been Friday. And it is called Chris Grace as Scarlett Johansson. Now, Chris Grace, if you have heard of him, it's because he was a recurring guest star on the sitcom Superstore. He was the one who was, I think he played a Hawaiian, and he was kind of like married to one of the women or flirting with a couple of the different women. And he was very funny in that show. He's also done some Dropout stuff. So this show is called Chris Grace as Scarlett Johansson and was absolutely phenomenal. If the other two shows hadn't been good, this one would still justify the existence of the Dropout Presents thing. So apparently he wrote this show and presented it at Edinburgh Fringe last year, which is a place where you have to go to get it's like a theater festival that happens in Edinburgh every year, and there's like 30,000 people putting on different small shows, and he was there, and he got a 4-star review from The Guardian, and it did a big deal. And then he brought it to the US, and Sam, I guess, saw it. I saw it in the post. Like, they have a little interview thing after it to kind of talk about how it got to be and where it came from and who the people are. And Sam apparently went and saw it in Edinburgh and was like, I need more people to see this. And that was the thing that started the whole idea behind Dropout Presents, was he saw that and I'm like, I need more people to see this. And he was right. More people need to see it. It is fantastic. So Chris Grace is a Chinese American actor, and he does a thing where he kind of talks about race and gender and diversity and everything in Hollywood. And he does it, through the lens of comedy, but it's also very raw and emotional and touching. And it's like, there are moments where you're laughing hysterically and then you're like sobbing and then laughing hysterically within like a 2-minute span. It is an absolutely fantastic comedy show. It's smart. It's hilarious. It's biting. It's full of, again, raw emotion in a way that you don't always get from any medium, and is like, that's the height, I think, of what you can do with comedy sometimes, is just raw emotion and make people see things in a way that they maybe hadn't before. And it is, I really hope people will watch it. I'm going to make everybody I know watch it with me.
We have a watch party.
Yeah, it is so good. So if you have Dropout, make sure you watch Chris Grace as Scarlett Johansson. And if you don't have Dropout, go get Dropout. What have you been doing? How do you listen to this podcast and listen to me tell you how good it is, and you still don't have it?
Jeremy, they're still working through the extensive library on Apple TV Plus, okay?
Set that aside.
Oh, wow.
And go watch Dropout. Apple TV Plus, I love Apple TV Plus. You know I do.
Yeah, you do.
Set it aside and watch Dropout. Apple TV will be there.
Ain't no
and
way.
They're going to take years in between seasons. We still are waiting for season 2 of Severance. I think it's supposed to come out early next year.
Oof.
Meanwhile, you can watch 6 seasons of Game Changer in...
That's fair.
Go get it done.
Okay. All right. I like that. Alrighty, folks. If you heard the dogs barking in the background, that's because they're hungry. All right, they ain't trying to eat each other, but they're just getting a little persnickety. All right, they're getting a little snippy at each other. So we're gonna go ahead and get on out of here, not because of the dogs, but because we have nothing else to talk about, unless we want to talk about Adam Frazier's swing mechanics and why they don't work. Do you want to talk about that, Jeremy? Do you want to spend another hour talking about that? No? Okay. All right.
I just want to hope that I wake up tomorrow and he's not on the roster anymore. And I know this is a real human being.
Yeah.
He's got a job, and I feel bad wishing that someone would stop having a job, but he's going to get paid either way. So I would rather see somebody I think can succeed more hitting.
Mm-hmm. I fully agree. Also, one note for people who don't realize it, Dairon Blanco is actually a below average center fielder. So, don't please don't get it twisted. He's a below average
defender, period. He's fast. He does not have an arm, and he does not take good routes.
Correct. So please keep that in mind ahead of the next 17 games against playoff teams. It's 17 consecutive games. The stretch does not end until September 11th. We will be here for every single day of it at the Royals Rundown Podcast, also over at royalsreview.com, also on social media.
And they just need to split with the Guardians this week. They do not need to beat them, just split. I mean, if they do take 3 out of 4, that would be okay.
It would.
That would be very good.
Yes.
But they just have to split. If they split, we're still good.
Exactly.
Oh, that actually does remind me of one more thing I wanted to mention.
Oh boy, what you got?
Some people have said, if the Royals aren't good enough to make the World Series, and if they're not good enough to make the World Series, who cares if they make the playoffs? First of all, playoffs are fun. Second of all, anything can happen in the postseason. Third of all, this is a young team for the most part. And postseason experience is not replicable and is invaluable.
Exactly.
So we want them to be in the postseason, even if they can't make it out of the wild card round, because wild card experience and playoff experience means that they can do better next year.
Exactly. And that's some long-term thinking. Okay. And frankly, the fact of the matter is we haven't had to do long-term thinking, because when was the last time this team went to the playoffs 3 years in a row? Okay. So let's think about this. The core is still in place for a while. Let's let them season. Let's let them build. Let's let them progress. Now, I'm going to go watch some actual Walker, Texas Ranger and figure out the context behind that goddamn clip that you sent me. So if you want to follow along with us on social media, please feel free to do so. Our links are down in the podcast description below. It really helps us. And frankly, sorry, Jeremy, I do have one more thing before we get on out of here.
I did one more thing. You can have one more thing.
I got a question in the comments, which I will say the comments have been showing up. I don't know if they fixed something, but we have been getting more comments. So thank you to those of you who are still engaging with that. I got someone who asked a question. Hey, like why don't you do the Royals recaps anymore? I stopped doing the after every single game episodes last week.
Thing too.
Yeah. So everything boils down to an algorithm right now. And I'll be frank, I love doing this with Jeremy, but I want to see it grow. And I'm going to do what is necessary to see this grow. And it turns out the podcast is actually getting penalized in a sense for having more episodes. Okay, because they want podcasts to put out quality over quantity. So I will say, since we stopped doing that, our numbers are looking better. Our reach is growing. So please don't take it personally. I did respond to the comment saying, hey, if there's another platform you could think of us doing this on, we would love to do it. What'd you say?
You could put those on TikTok.
Would it be long enough? Like,
I would hesitate to do them as long as you've been doing them, but you could probably get up to 5 minutes on there. I honestly, I don't know what the right numbers are for TikTok. YouTube is another option, I guess.
That's true. So please know that we want to do stuff like that. We're just trying to figure out a way forward. We'll peek behind the curtain there. So thank you for supporting us. If you're still listening to us at this point, you're a diehard. So
we love you.
We love you. Great. Yes, we do. But we're going to get on out of here. Thank you for joining us this evening. Thank you, Jeremy, for joining me as always. And until next time, go Royals.